Thanks for joining us on CoreTV News at this hour. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. The Senate will on Wednesday morning deliberate on an appropriate response to President Goodluck Jonathan's refusal to assent to the latest constitutional amendment done by the National Assembly. Deputy Senate President A.K. Kuremadu disclosed this before rounding off plenary on Tuesday. He urged his colleagues to make themselves available for a closed-door session to discuss the amendment to the Constitution. There are indications, however, in the Senate that the National Assembly has decided to override the President's veto. And the Senate has also passed an anti-tobacco bill which will primarily seek to shield non-smokers, but it also has provisions that will ultimately protect farmers and the local tobacco industry. The bill was passed after the Senate Committee on Health presented a bulky report outlining penalties for smoking in public places and the sale of tobacco products to minors.
A bill for an act to repeal the Tobacco Control Act 1990 Cap T76, Laws of the Federation, and to enact the National Tobacco Control Bill 2015 to provide for the regulation and control of the production, manufacture, sale, advertising, promotion and sponsorship of tobacco products in Nigeria, and for that matter dated there to 2015, read the third time and passed.
This is the climax of a process that began about a year ago with an executive bill that prescribes a 6-month jail term for smoking in public places. There was also a public member bill sponsored by Senator Ifeanyi Okowa and 10 members of the Senate Committee on Health. The two bills were consolidated, and after a debate that saw the Senate divided on the possibility of an outright ban on smoking, a public hearing was called for input from the various vested interests. 6 months after the hearing, the committee turned in a report which members say took health and economic issues into consideration. In the report presented by Senator Chris Ngige, the committee noted that as much as smokers have a lifestyle choice, they should be stopped from harming non-smokers. But there was also a dose of reality as the committee admitted that a total ban on tobacco products would have adverse effects on farmers and the local industry. The bill was passed easily, with Deputy Senate President A.K. Kuremadu insisting that non-smokers have a right to be protected.
For us as a Senate, the danger associated with smoking cannot be overemphasized. And the tragedy here is that those at risk are not just who smoke, but those around them, their loved ones, their neighbors, and their friends.
He also has some comforting words for the local tobacco industry and others benefiting from the tobacco trade.
So it is important that we regulate the smoking and other matters related with the tobacco manufacturing and sale. This we have done today in order to protect our people from the harmful effect of smoking. So I believe that the society, especially those whose business involves production and sale of tobacco, will understand our concern for the health of our people. So once more, I'd like to congratulate you and believe that the law enforcement agencies will take appropriate action to enforce this very important legislation.
The House of Representatives is expected to tow a similar path, after which both chambers would harmonize their positions into a single document that would be sent for the President's assent. But if President Jonathan fails to sign the bill into law, the process would have to begin all over again.
Practitioners have advised the National Assembly to respect the law to avert crisis in the purported Constitution amendment. Now, this coming on the backdrop of the National Assembly reported vow to override the President and the Supreme Court. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has the rest of the story.
The federal government had earlier instituted a suit at the Supreme Court to nullify the proposed amendments to the 1999 Constitution. President Jonathan had withheld his assent to the amendment to some sections of the documents sent to him by the National Assembly. He faulted some of the amendments which gives executive powers and duties to the legislature and judiciary.
The complaint that actually, I say that may deserve some attention is the issue of amendment of the amending section there's a section that amends the Constitution with which you can, I think Section 9. That particular section was amended, and then it requires a special requisite number for it to be passed into law.
The upper chamber of the National Assembly some days back had vowed to override the President and Supreme Court, claiming that the court does not have the powers to prevent it from conducting its legislative duties.
It's an unnecessary controversy. It's an unnecessary crisis involving now the three arms of government. I'm aware that the House can override the veto power of the President. I'm not aware whether the House can override the judgment or the ruling of the Supreme Court or any court in the land.
Now, the Supreme Court, led by Justice Mahmoud Mohammed, had fixed June 18 for further hearing on the case, on a date the tenure of the current assembly would have ended.
If there's any order of the court that have been validly granted, the order of the court must be obeyed. And there is a serious consequence for disobedience of court order.
So much money has been wasted in trying to amend this particular constitution, almost in the billions, and time also wasted. The Supreme Court should have been interested in having this matter resolved within the lifespan of this administration.
The process of amending the Constitution still hangs in the balance. Time will tell how the incoming administration will handle the issue. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Labour activists have now barricaded the entrance of the National Identity Management Commission in Abuja in protest of the alleged plan to sack 1,000 staff of the government agency. Many of the protesters are civil rights activists, and they say the solidarity protest is because the workers to be affected are members of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Speaking through their spokesman, they say they will not be in a hurry to leave the barricade until something is done to reverse the sack of the affected staff.
You could see that this protest is a national one. National Identity Management Commission is having problem. By virtue of our work, an injury to one is injury to all. Correct. Yes. It is on that note, all agencies across Abuja we gather here today to safeguard the interests of our members here. The NIMC management will just describe them in a very simple term. They are very ungodly.
Recently, there was a problem. They accused the federal civil staff, the federal civil service staff, that there was a fraud, that there was forgery of certificates of promotion letters given by the federal civil service. Apart from that, they said they will sack the federal civil service staff of 1,000 in NIMC. They now placed us on disciplinary action. I personally, Nwabaji Ugoma Regina, I am affected.
The National Council of State has approved a transition program ahead of the May 29 handover ceremony. President-elect Muhammadu Buhari is to get his handover notes on May 28, after which he will be conducted around the presidential villa alongside his deputy, Yemi Osinbajo. This was one of the decisions taken at the meeting, which had all living former presidents and the heads of state in attendance. Basiaye has all the details.
It was the last council meeting under the Jonathan administration, and it was fitting that all former presidents and heads of state were in attendance. President-elect Buhari was attending his second consecutive meeting after previously staying away. Also at the presidential villa was former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who showed up about 1 hour into the meeting. The main agenda centered around the handover ceremonies. The council approved the program that includes a tour of the presidential villa as well as the exchange of handover notes.
The other issue is the Transition and Integration Committee. You recall that the two arms, the government, the sitting government and the incoming government, all selected their transition committees and with the terms of reference, but actually they became almost one because of the interface that were needed. So that every detail that are required in governance, nothing will become new to the incoming people. Every ministry, every agency, every unit that has worked for government, including all the funds that have been collected, how they have been utilized, and the assets and the liabilities of government will all be put together in documents, the incoming government. These officially, the documents will be handed over on the 28th of May.
Another issue of discourse is national security. But unlike what came out of previous meetings, the outlook this time is clearly positive.
I did a very comprehensive briefing on the security situations in the country, among which was the issue of Boko Haram, successes recorded so far, which are known to all Nigerians, but that he did mention that it took a while because Nigeria, after the civil war, relaxed. There were no serious challenging security issues in the country. And so when Boko Haram emerged, it was a new phenomenon, and the military or the security agencies could not cope with it because nobody anticipated it. But that it took time for them to address it because they were getting together, trying to get the collaborations of some surrounding African countries who hitherto Nigeria have never had or shared intelligence with them on security issues. But now all of them are on board, and so it became easier for us to witness what we have witnessed, where we have Cameroon, Chad, and even Mali, Sudan, collaborating with Nigeria in order to fight this insurgency because they are also affected. The issues of the clashes between the herdsmen and the farmers.
The meeting, which began at about 11 a.m., had virtually all statutory members in attendance.
The Police Council has confirmed Solomon Arese as Substantive Inspector General of Police. The council, headed by President Goodluck Jonathan, took the decision on Tuesday with relevant members in attendance. Speaking to State House correspondents after the meeting, the new police chief assured Nigerians of the police commitment to ensuring peace and security across the country.
I have just been confirmed.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
What other issues were discussed at your council meeting, please?
Well, we talked about the security challenges we are having and our strategic responses to, addressing those challenges. Those are part of the things that we discussed. And I can assure Nigerians that we are going to, address those issues. There is no society that is actually crime-free, but we are trying to ensure that it is within tolerable, levels, and that is exactly what we are going to do. It's not as bad as the public perception in there. And besides that, you said what I want to tell my men. Their welfare will be, one of my cardinal responsibilities. And you don't motivate a workforce except their welfare becomes paramount in your life. So I'm going to ensure that their welfare is put in the front burner. To Nigerians, I know the expectations are high, but I can assure them that no Nigerian will suffer any injustice by my inaction or my action.
Yeah, like that I told you earlier on, issues that border on national security were discussed, how to ensure that Nigerians live in peace, how to ensure that securities are assured, how to ensure that their lives of properties are adequately protected. With that, a new IG was brought on board to see if the policies and the programs put in place implemented by him.
Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan has approved the appointment of Justice Amiru Sanusi as a Justice of the Supreme Court. Spokesman for the National Judicial Council, Sojioye, disclosed this in a statement. The new Supreme Court judge is to be sworn in on Thursday. His appointment brings to 18 the number of justices of Nigeria's apex court. We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
Women share the most amazing thoughts on national issues, and they do it passionately.
For most men that are educated, that are exposed, will see nothing to it.
The population and the level of poverty made me cry. No infrastructural development whatsoever. And you tell me Lagos is working?
That was an accident, and it was a one-off thing. Other than that, there has never been any situation in Nigeria where a Nigerian attacked anybody just because of where they came from.
Sharing the adorable word of women in politics every week, only on CoreTV News.
You can get all of our news items on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter and those at CoreTV News NG, and we're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV News. Moving on now, the Osho State government has debunked allegations claiming that a son of the governor, Rauf Aragbeshala Kabir Aragbeshala, was arrested at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport on May 12, 2015, with a large sum of money in hard currencies. The allegation was debunked by the state's director, Bureau of Communication and Strategy. He went to claim the authors of the wicked and malicious lie are doggedly pursuing their agenda by engaging in an aggressive push for the falsehood to reach a larger population, especially using the social media. The statement claims the younger Aragbeshala neither traveled anywhere nor had any encounter with any security personnel on the said day. Okolawan claims the evil minds at work are out to drag an innocent young man's name into debt in order to get at his father, saying Aragbeshala has maintained a life of a moderate family man with a set of highly disciplined children who cannot be found wanting on issues of morals and societal values. Okolawa further advised members of the public to dismiss the allegations because it's just another handiwork of mischievous minds. The All Progressives Congress has called on security agencies and the telecommunication service providers to help fish out those seeking to defraud Nigerians by asking them to apply for federal appointments in the incoming APC federal government through a non-existent APC Screening Committee. The party made this call in a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed in Abuja. The party insists that the call has become necessary as the scammers had persisted in their fraudulent ways despite previous warnings by the party for them to desist. APC repeated its earlier warning, saying that it is important for Nigerians to beware. After the March 28 and April 11 presidential and governorship elections, drama seemed to be evolving daily in the PDP camp, both at national and state levels. The latest drama now is the purported impeachment of the Lagos PDP chairman, Tudun Shele, on Monday. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has the rest of the story.
On May 11, 2015, news of the removal of the Lagos PDP chairman filtered in. The secretariat was under lock and key with presence of security operatives on guard. The impeachment drama was attributed to the fallout of the party's primaries, where a particular group within the Lagos PDP camp had conspired to change the structure of the party.
They tried to divide the party along personality lines. But thank God, I hired all the leaders and elders behind me. The ESCO is made up of 49 members, and I control the majority at all times.
Chairman maintains he remains the party chairman until the next ESCO assumes office.
It is unfortunate that the few incarcerate members with the arrowhead, Kamal Olorunje and Wahab Owokoniro, eventually struck. I'm in the office now. I'm in control. I'm in charge.
The party says they do not regret having Jimmy Agbaja as the party's governorship flag bearer, maintaining that he gave the APC a keen competition in the last election. They are, however, assured that disciplinary action will be taken against the party offenders. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And now to Ekiti State, where the crisis currently ravaging the People's Democratic Party is visiting the already troubled state, the chapter of the State Working Committee, as they've sacked Idowu Faleye and elect Olatunde as the new acting chairman. Idowu Faleye has, however, denied his removal, asking the other faction of a huge sum of money. The Olatunde-led faction, however, insists that Faleye stepped down voluntarily after presenting to him glaring facts that nullifies him as the party leader. Rashid has more in the report.
The Ekiti State chapter of the PDP is no doubt in troubled waters as two factions have emerged following the removal of the SY chairman Idowu Faleye, replaced by Olatunde, while Olatunde claims that Faleye is not a PDP member, thus resulting in his voluntary step down. Faleye insists he remains the state chairman.
Defended our constitution by appointing two powerful state working committee from the same ward. We alerted him. He also regretted it. That particular one was why he stepped aside. Even up till now, his name is not in the party register.
State Working Committee requested for payment of the honorarium, which I don't have such power to pay huge sum of money, and I cannot drag my name into the mud. I told them that they should hold on till when we get approval.
The legal advisor of the party, apparently on the side of the embattled chairman, cites legal implication, while the Olatunde-led faction reiterates that the chairman's removal is the overall consensus of the State Working Committee.
If we are going to have a meeting of the party, the chairman is supposed to call the meeting through the secretary, and all members of the executive will be notified. I am a member of the executive. I am a member of the State Working Committee. I am not aware of any meeting.
Incidentally, I have the attendance here, which he himself signed. We have 11 out of 14 SWC. Out of 13 assistant officers, 11 also signed. We have 22 over 29.
The party secretary, Tope Aluko, was last week touted for suspension, but it is the chairman that has now been sacked, a signal that Ekiti PDP is now heading for the rocks, even as the impeachment act still hangs on the governor Ayodele Fayose, as the party in Ekiti State now remains factionalized. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The trial of Aminu Oguche, the alleged mastermind of the 2015 Yaya bus terminal bombing, and 5 others at the Federal High Court in Abuja, has been stalled due to the absence of the prosecution witnesses. The court had slated May 12 for proper trial of the suspects after several adjournments, but has now fixed May 19 and 20. Prosecution counsel Mohammed Diri had told the court that 3 of the witnesses slated to testify were on official assignment. Defense counsel Ahmed Raji and 5 other counsels did not object but demanded a speedy trial of the suspects.
3 of their witnesses are not available, that they went for other official assignments. But one would have thought coming to court to give evidence on a sensitive matter like this is a bigger official assignment than. But since what they are talking about borders and security, we need to give them the benefit of doubt. And we are not reading any meanings into it. So we agreed to an adjournment, and the court has now adjourned to 19th and 20th of May, which is next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, when they are supposed to come with their witnesses.
And that wraps it on the news this hour. Do join us again at the top of the hour for more. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye.